Here's your 8.2 mini lesson for today's practice activity. We're talking about finding perimeter of composite shapes. Remember, we talked yesterday a little bit about composite shapes just being one shape made up of multiple different shapes. So here is your definition of a composite figure. Made up of triangles, squares, rectangles, semicircles, or other two-dimensional figures. Here are a couple examples. To find the perimeter of a composite shape, find the distance around the figure. So the definition of perimeter has not changed. It's just that when you're looking at this square and this rectangle, what you're not including in your perimeter are the pieces of what you would call a square and a rectangle. You're just doing the distance around the outside. So again, if this was your rectangle and that's your semicircle, your perimeter is not going to be that stuff on the inside. So sometimes you're going to have to remember to take that part out of your calculation. I have a couple of examples of how to estimate using graph paper. I think this part is pretty self-explanatory. You can just count the squares. So the distance of that side is 4, the distance of this side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means the distance of this side is also 6. This is 2, this is 2, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. These diagonal lines going diagonally through the boxes are not one unit. That distance between the distance in the middle going through the box is about 1.5. That's what we're going to estimate it to be. So if we are going to try to count these diagonal lines, I like to pair them up and say that 2 of those is 3. Each of them is 1.5. So 1.5 and 1.5 is 3. So I like to pair these guys up and say 2 more is 3 units, 2 more is another 3 units, 2 more is another 3 units. And so now we can add to figure our perimeter. We're going to go 4 plus 6 plus 6, that's 4 plus 6 plus 6, plus 2, and that's these. And then we have plus 1, 2, 3, 4 threes. So if you guys are okay with this, I'm going to go 4 times 3. Now we easily could have done 2 times 6 plus 2 times 2, because we have 2 sides of length 6 and 2 sides of length 2. So I'll just write that a different way. So if you want to make this a little more efficient, you can. So 2 6s is 12, 2 2s is 4, 4 3s is also 12. We have to add this singleton 4 here. And let's see, I can go 4 plus 4 is 8. You do 12 and 12 is 24. Let's see, 8 and 24 is what, 32? And so estimating that perimeter, again, estimating that one diagonal being 1.5, we have 32. This is where I'm going to ask that you guys pause the video, try these on your own before I start writing on the screen, and then hop back in when you're done, check my work to see if you did it correctly. So pause now, do it on your own, and I'm going to go ahead and get started now. So remember we said these diagonals count as 1.5 each. So if I pair these up, actually I'm going to do it differently a little bit. If I pair these up, I can count them as 3. So 1.5, 1.5 is 3. I can go, here's 1, so that corner piece is 3. And then 2 more is 3 more. I can do it over here as well. So 2 of those is 3, 3, 3. I've got, let's see, these straight sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can do, let's see, there's 2 sides that have length 7 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides that have length 3. I can say 2 7s is 14, 3 6s is 18, and let's do 14 plus 18 to get our final answer. We're going to go 14 plus 18. Let's see, 4 and 8 is 12, 10 and 10 is 20, so 12 and 20, so 32 again. That's crazy. So hopefully you guys did okay on that. Hopping over to the other one. Remember these diagonals, if we pair them up, they count as 3. So there's 3, there's 3. Ooh, and then we have a straggler, this guy, this 1.5, 1.5. We'll do straight edges. There's another 3. Purple. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this straight guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I can add it all up. So I can say there's 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2, 3 threes. So 3 threes plus 5 plus 8 plus 10. And of course I'm running out of room. Move this guy over. Plus the 1.5 that I almost included in my count of 3s. So 3 threes is 9. Let's see, 5 and 8 is 13, plus another 10 is 23, plus the 1.5 is still hanging around. See, 9 plus 23 is 32. I've gotten so many 32s, I feel as though I'm doing something wrong. And we don't have the advantage of you guys yelling at me. Miss Jackson, you did something wrong. I miss you. I wish you guys could tell me I was doing something wrong. 32 plus 1.5, 33 and 1/2, or 33.5. So hopefully that went okay. Hopefully the try problems was something you guys were able to do on your own. And now without using estimating on graph paper, now we're going to find the perimeter of another composite shape. So remember, the composite shape is this triangle and this semicircle, and we're not including this part in our perimeter count. So we're gonna do, let's say we have this 8 plus this, which is 6. That's gonna be part of our outside. Plus now this is gonna take a little bit more. We have to add that. And so this piece we're gonna have to do a little bit more calculation. So this is half of a circle. Remember that the circumference, that distance around the outside of a circle, is pi times diameter. And as it turns out, we do know the diameter is all the way across, and so I know that the diameter is 10. I'm going to approximate pi to be 3.14, and I'm going to multiply that by 10 to give me the circumference. 3.14 times 10 is 31.4. But just to point something out, that would be the entire circle. What we just found. So remember, we don't want the entire circle. We want just half of that circle. And so our last step here is we want just that semicircle. So we're going to divide that guy in half. Let's do 31.4 divided by 2 equals 15.7. So this half piece here is, what did I say? 15.7. 15.7. And that is what we want to add as part of the outside. So it's this outside piece, sorry about switching colors on you, and then plus this outside piece. And I know that 8 plus 6 is 14. I'm going to add that to the existing 15.7, which I already have on my calculator, so why don't I just go plus 14 equals 29.7. I'm going to go ahead and include my feet here, my units, and then your answer. Let's see, I've got one more for us to try together. Now this one is find the perimeter. So remember, it's the distance around the outside, this straight piece, this straight piece, this curve, this curve. Now notice that this curve and this curve together would make one whole circle, right? And we know that the radius of that circle is 32. That's this distance right here. Now if I were to double that, That means the diameter, the distance all the way across, is 64. And the reason I care about that is because I know that circumference is pi times diameter. So I'm going to go 3.14, that's pi. We just calculated the diameter to be 64, and so I can find the perimeter of this whole circle by doing 3.14 times 3.14 times 64, 200.96, 200.96 meters. So I'm looking at this unit here. And so remember, that is this distance and this distance. So that's part of our outside perimeter. So I'm going to now hold this number just for a minute. So that's the circumference. I'm going to hold that guy. It's not our final answer because I still have this, which is 100. So I'm going to add 100 plus this, which is also 100. So I have to take the circumference of that circle that I calculated in blue, and I need to add the length, the straightaways on that track. Dang, we're missing track season 2. So 100 and 100 is 200, plus another 200 is 400.96 meters, which is not a shocker because this distance around the track, they call that the 400, right? When you run the 400, you run one lap all the way around the track. And then 2 of them is the 800, and half of it is the 200. Well, what do you know? So there's that. Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. So good luck on your big ideas today. Hopefully you found this helpful.